Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are having a good Christmas. Nobody wants to say Christmas anymore. And nobody even wants to say Happy Holidays anymore. It used to be Merry Christmas, and then from there it went to Happy Holidays. But then they stopped saying Happy Holidays because the word holiday has the word holy in it, and so that pertains to the holy day of Christmas, and they don't want to say that. So now everybody just says have a good day, have a good night, whatever. But anyway, getting to the news, because that's what this channel is mostly about, right? We're commentating on the news. We're talking about what's happening around the world, and then I really just give my interpretation of the news, and I give my viewpoint, and I give my prognostication, I give my predictions as to what could happen. Anyway, there is a story that is being discussed. It has been being discussed for the past few days now, and that is Germany wanting to lead a major air defense system for all of Europe. Basically, Germany leading the air defense system for the entirety of the European Union. And this discussion was triggered by what happened in Poland recently. You guys all know the story. 2 missiles from Ukraine, or I think it was just 1 missile from Ukraine, hit Poland and killed 2 people. And they were saying, "Oh, look, the Russians fired a missile into Poland. Oh my God, Russia is being directly aggressive with a NATO country. This is a big news." And it turns out that this was just actually a Ukrainian missile, and the Ukrainians fired the missile, and the missile hit Poland, which means that Ukraine struck a NATO member. And I'm surprised that this didn't provoke the United States to get pissed off with the Ukrainians, because remember what the Biden administration said. The Biden administration said that it will have a full NATO reaction to any strike on a NATO country, even if it is an accidental strike on a NATO country. And now you're not seeing that, right? You're not seeing America getting mad at Ukraine. And it wasn't Russia that hit a NATO country. It was Ukraine that hit a NATO country. And they say it was an accident. I think that there is some kind of incitement that is happening, right? There's some kind of provocation that is taking place here. You don't just hit a NATO country by accident. Right? Russia has fired tons of missiles into Ukraine, and it hasn't hit a NATO country by accident. Why? Because if you hit a NATO country by accident, it's a pretty big deal, and it triggers other consequences that could be very, very destructive and dangerous, and you guys get what I'm trying to say. So I don't think this was by accident. I think what happened was the Ukrainians fired the missile in the hopes that it would cause a provocation between NATO and Russia. And remember, Zelensky was saying, "Oh, look, NATO, you got hit. Oh, my God." And the Pentagon said, "Hey, this wasn't a Russian missile." The Poles initially were saying, "It's a Russian missile. But then they said, "Oh, no, sorry, it was a Ukrainian missile. It was an accident, guys." And NATO said the same thing. The European Union said the same thing. Right? Everybody's saying the same thing. It's all an accident. Everybody except Zelensky said it was an accident by Ukraine. And Zelensky said, "Oh, no, it was Russia." Why were the Ukrainians so adamant about saying that this was a Russian missile? I think it's because they were hoping that it could provoke something bigger. It could bring the conflict into a greater point of escalation. And so now what we're seeing is Germany saying, well, because this missile came from Ukraine and it hit a NATO country, now we need now we need to have a major air defense system, and Germany will lead it. Well, for one thing, Germany, if this was an accident, right, and this was not an act of aggression on the part of Russia, then why are you saying that Europe needs to have this huge air defense system if it was merely an accident by your ally? Why? It's quite obvious why. It's because they're using this event as a pretext to justify greater German military autonomy. That's what the Germans want. This is what the Germans have been discussing, greater military autonomy. They've been discussing this for years. They've been wanting this probably since the end of the Second World War, when, after the Second World War, after East and West Germany, reunited. Well, even, and even in the 1990s, when the Serbs were fighting in Kosovo against the KLA and against the Albanian terrorists, the Germans were the ones pushing the Americans to bomb the Serbs, and the Germans were the ones who armed and trained the KLA. And this was Germany pretty much flexing itself as, basically saying that we can unite, or we can come back, right? And they wanted to they wanted to bring about their hegemony in the Balkans. That's what that was about. So the Germans have been wanting to do this for a very long time. I don't know. I'm stuttering. I don't know. Maybe it's the tea I'm drinking. I don't know. But the Germans have been wanting to do this for a long time, and this type of conversation really, really got amplified after the British voted to leave the European Union back in 2016. And after that, the Germans really went hardcore. They put the discussion on third gear. So today, I was reading the news, and I read that the Germans told the Poles, hey, Poland, you got hit by a missile. And even though it was an accident by one of our allies, we think that you need a huge air defense system, and it's going to be a German air defense system, and we're going to be in Poland. We're going to be defending your skies. The Poles said, no, we're not going to do that because we don't want to be under the German boot. And it's understandable as to why the Poles would say that, given their history. It's not that complicated. Germany invaded Poland and butchered millions of Poles, ethnic Poles and Jewish Poles. It's not that complicated. And so that trauma is still there, understandably so, and the Poles said, no, we're not interested in this. And this was declared by the ruling party in the Polish government, the Law and Justice Party, Prawo I Sprawiedliwość, or something like that. And the Law and Justice Party said, no, we don't want to do this. Now, initially, there was an opinion within the party that was in favor of accepting German air defense. But then Jaroslaw Kaczynski, who is the leader of the Law and Justice Party, said, no, we don't want this. And then everybody else started to change their tune, including Mateusz Morawiecki, who is the president of Poland, or the prime minister of Poland, I don't remember. But Morawiecki said, basically agreed with Kaczynski. And so they're saying in the media that one of the reasons why the Poles said no is because there is a very high anti-Germany sentiment within Poland. And so the Law and Justice Party is appealing to this opinion. Now, the opposition in Poland has expressed protests against this decision, saying, no, Poland should be under this German air defense system because it's going to, better our security. It's going to protect Poland from Russian aggression or whatever, all this type of talk. But what the establishment is arguing is that we don't want to be under the German boot. And that's completely understandable. It is completely 100% understandable because of what happened in the past. And that wasn't that long ago. There are people in Poland who are still alive who suffered under the German occupation, the German, and I must also add, the Ukrainian nationalist reign of terror. And so they don't want to be under any sort of German authority, even though they are in the EU. And this is a part of the current conflict that's been going on for years now between the Polish government and the European Union over Poland's judicial system. The Polish government wants to have the right to remove judges that the mainstream party doesn't like, and this is something that happened years ago when the Law and Justice Party changed the retirement age for the judges of Poland's highest court. And it was basically a loophole in order for the government to tell these judges to piss off. Because you're liberals and you don't really align with our ideology. And the Germans and the European Union said you can't do that. And so ever since then, there's been this conflict between Poland and Germany. And the Germans, the European Union, which is led by Germany, has been threatening Poland by saying, we're not going to give you the funds that you want. and all this stuff. And I would not doubt that in the near future, we will see Poland just leave the European Union, or maybe just even get kicked out from the European Union. Who knows? But I think that this could have... this could be a sign for something greater to come. It's possible that we may just see a military conflict between the Germans and the Poles. This actually might happen. Because of the past history, not just in World War II, but going all the way back to World War I, and even before that, there was much tension between the Germans and the Poles. There's always been this tension between the Germanians and the Slavs, right? This has been going on for a very long time, and it's not just going to end like that. So it would not surprise me that in the future, there's going to be some sort of crazy eruption of violence between those two countries. And I know that sounds like crazy to say, but reality is much stranger than fiction, my friends. Anyway, you guys just heard some theology. God bless.